Okay, folks, we've waited long enough, and I'm very sorry for that. But without further ado, we are now going over to M10 with The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for the Switch. So be hyped because it's a wonderful run. I really love that run. So take it away, M10.
Alright, what's up everybody? We are live here. Okay, so what's up everybody? My name is M38, and you are about to watch a speedrun of Link's Awakening for the Nintendo Switch. Before the run gets started, I have to do some setup here, as we're going to be setting up for RNG manipulation. I'll go over what it is once the run starts. For now, I'm going to focus on doing it, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start it. It's not super precise, it goes by a second, but here we go. Okay, looks like I'm having no signal here. Just give me a moment. Okay, so we're already starting off with technical difficulties. This is not a good thing. Oh, okay. I think I know. I know what the problem is. All right, give me just one moment, guys. All right, I apologize for that. All right, so I'm gonna have to start the RNG manipulation over again because I actually selected the wrong option as I was turning off the. Okay, that's what I did. Okay, that's what I did wrong. All right, here we go. Hopefully we'll get this to work this time. All right, my apologies. Didn't really help because I know that we're a bit behind, but what can you do? Things happen in marathons. All right, I see the game feed now. All right, thank you everybody for good luck. Okay, on timer. Alright, still need an audio cue as soon as I get into this. Okay, so I know what seat I'm on now. Alright. So what I did there was by starting the game at a very specific time from the moment you load the game, and then you start your file at a particular time, then you set your RNG seed to be a specific pattern. So what I did is I normally when you're going through this game, you go through there's a puzzle room in the 4th dungeon, and then there's a puzzle on the very last area of the game. And normally both those puzzles are completely random, but I manipulate my RNG seed to be something very specific, so that way I know exactly what puzzle I'm going to get. So now onto the game itself here. So this is Link's Awakening for the Nintendo Switch. Many of you guys might be familiar with Link's Awakening for the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and 20 years later we have upgraded substantially. And this version of the game looks amazing. I really like this version of the game. So if you've ever watched speedruns of the Game Boy Link's Awakening games, then get ready to throw all of that knowledge away, because none of the tricks from the Game Boy version works in this version at all. As we have completely different tricks, which as a result changes the whole route, which means the speedrun across every category is completely different from between the two versions. So the category that I'm running is any percent, but the regular any percent version of the speedrun for this game utilizes tricks like frame perfect, glitches, out of bounds, collision detection, physics abuse, death abusing. This run uses none of that, so what you're going to be seeing is a more traditional run of the game, done moderately fast here. So, in the original Link's Awakening speedruns, normally you can do a trick called moblin boosting, where you damage boost across using a spear that a moblin shoots at you as you're about to fall down a pit. But that's been changed, of course. So what you're seeing here is completely intentional gameplay through the forest. So something else to note is I am playing the game in German, and that's because normally in most speedruns you want to use the Japanese version, but the reason I'm playing in German is because German just happens to have the fewest amount of text boxes, and so over the course of the run, you save about like 40 seconds. Since the fastest way you go through text is by text boxes and not scrolling text, Japanese doesn't save any time. Which is really interesting because most of the time, German text is most of the time slower than English text. But this happens to be one of the few exceptions here. Okay, so after grabbing the mushroom in the forest and delivering it to the witch's hut, we're going to obtain magic powder. And I'm going to equip it right away. So the first part of the run, the first couple parts of the run starts off kind of slow, but after a while it will pick up later. Okay, so sprinkle magic powder on Terran the raccoon, who's been turned into a raccoon. Sprinkle magic powder on him, it'll turn him back into Terran. Also, to go through text boxes, I am mashing the B button. You can use A and B to go through the text, but if you mash with B, then all the text appears at once. So I am mashing B for every opportunity that there's text boxes. Okay, so now that we got our first dungeon key, the tail key, we can make our way to the next dungeon, but before we do that, there's a few things that we can do now that we obtained the 50 rupees from the cave. So we're going to go ahead and obtain those real quick. So the first thing that we're going to go to is the trendy game. And the trendy game has changed a lot. And you'll see. Okay. So You gotta get the Yoshi doll. There is a way to skip the trade sequence in this game, but since this is a glitchless run, we have to do the trade sequence not in its entirely, but we have to do some steps of the trade sequence. Okay, so we got the Yoshi doll first try. So that looked easy, but sometimes the trendy game has some really weird physics. You'll sometimes do everything correctly, but then you'll fail the trendy game anyway because the crane game goes by actual crane physics. So you'll just sometimes fail to get your prize for like no reason. It can sometimes be really frustrating. So we got the Yoshi doll, and we are going to trade the Yoshi doll to this family right here to get a ribbon. And we're going to go ahead and trade in that ribbon in. Okay. So we got dog food, and we could actually trade into dog food, but we're going to save that till later, just because it's just a little bit too far out of the way as of right now. So we're just going to go straight to the next dungeon. The first dungeon is it's a simple dungeon, nobody makes any mistakes. Of course, I'm going to say that now, and I'm going to get pretty destroyed, but hopefully that doesn't happen. I am using a GameCube controller, so if all my inputs sound really loud, that's why. For controller preferences, it's mostly preference for the most part. A lot of people like to use the Pro Controller because it's really easy and accessible, most comfortable in the hands. Some people use Joy-Cons, which, well, yeah, not very many people use Joy-Cons because they're really small. But a few people, like I am, and using a game controller. Oh. This first part's relatively straightforward here. The item of the dungeon that you get here is the Rock's Feather. And the Rock's Feather, it allows you to do the most important mechanic in any video game, which is to jump. Now, most people probably remember in Link's Awakening, in the original speedruns, where you can use the Rock's Feather to do some really cool tricks, such as like a super jump. Since that utilizes an intentional mechanic called wall clipping, we cannot do that since wall clipping is not a thing in this game. So get the Rock's Feather, and we are going to pretty much backtrack now. What I did there was known as auto-loading. So the game does autosave, and whenever you access a new area or grab like a key item, then the game will autosave, and it'll autosave into a separate file off of the main files, and you can actually use that file and load your game off of that. And when you do that in a dungeon, then you get sent back to the beginning of the dungeon, which eliminates a ton of backtracking. And the key that I got from autoloading, you can actually get that first thing, but the reason I didn't get it first thing is because the first key that you get will give you a text box that introduces what a key is. And we want to use that very first text box from a chest, since you get a text from the chest anyway. So the first boss is coming up here, and I usually like to joke around in the Game Boy speedruns that the bosses are really difficult, but the bosses this time are not a joke. They've pretty much buffed up every boss in this game this time around. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna be a bit safe here, and I'm actually going to go and grab this berry. I probably don't need it, but if I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't really done any preparation with this, so rather I'm gonna be safe than sorry. So this is Moldorm. Moldorm's a hamburger, a literal hamburger. He's the worst kind of hamburger here, because he's a it's just lettuce and no meat. Okay, so that's unfortunate. So if you fall down during the Moldorm fight, then he regains all of his health back. So I gotta pretty much start over now. So that's I'm already up to a pretty rough start here. I'm also low on health, so I gotta be careful. Okay, not bad. Alright. Alright. So off to a rough start, but we still have quite a bit of run left. This is a pretty long category, so things like this can happen, and that's something that in a long category you kind of have to endure through. Alright, so that's our first dungeon, Tell Cave, done. Alright. Okay. I'm setting up for the next part, which is why it looked like I was doing something weird on camera. No need to add suspicion on me in the chat. Anyway. One of the things that Link's Awakening Switch introduces is you can actually skip heart containers this time around. In the Game Boy version speedruns, the instrument room will not open until you get the heart container. But you can skip heart containers this time around, and it takes about a few seconds every single time that you grab one. And so optimally, you want to grab as little heart containers as possible, because all that time will add up. For this run, I'm gonna get most of the heart containers. Just to add a bit of safety to the run here. I believe in the world record run of this, they grab about maybe 3 or 4 or something like that. And it's usually because you want to use that extra health for like damage boosting or whatever. But the more health that you get, the safer you are. And most of the time it does pay off. Yeah, so these kids here are gonna let us know that some moblins have stolen Bow Wow, the dog, the Chain Chomp. So we have to go to the forest and rescue it. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Normally it's a trick called Bow Wow Skip that you can do, but that is a glitch. Now the Rock's Feather, unfortunately, is pretty heavily nerfed, because whenever you jump, Link lands on his feet, so you want to jump as little times as possible. So powder is pretty useful here. I'm going to use powder to defeat all these guys over here. A little bit low, taking a little bit of damage, but okay. That didn't work out. Okay, so if you've probably heard that, that is me using the fabled metronome app. I use a metronome app for this fight because you have to have a very specific rhythm in order to defeat the Moblin King in one cycle, and I failed to do that, unfortunately. But 2 cycles okay, as long as you get it quickly, which thankfully didn't take too long after missing the first cycle. We rescued Bow Wow. And Madam Meow Meow, the owner of Bow Wow, is gonna tell you to take Bow Wow on a walk, so that's what we're gonna do. That heart piece is the heart piece of shame, because if you grab it, you lose about a few seconds. And sometimes it can be easy to grab it. You wanna make sure you just avoid it. But that is the last time that we're gonna have to avoid that heart piece. So even though you get this landing lag whenever you jump, it's doing all these jumps here in the water is still faster than walking in the water. Because as you can see, I move really slow in the water. Okay, so now here we are in Bottle Grotto. The second dungeon. It's not really anything to say here. We just gotta go through this here. One of the things I really like about speedrunning this game, compared to the original, is before this version came out back in 2019, I had been running LADX, the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening, for about 2 years, a year and a half at that point. Throughout 2019, I was very actively playing LADX. And so, by the time the Switch version came out, it was a nice, fresh new experience to try this version out as a speedrun. By that point, I was pretty much burned out of playing LADX. And because of how different the speedrun is with this version, it's a whole fresh new experience. I really like it. Woo! Okay. So that's a Hinox right there. Hinox is really special if you watch Glitch any percent speedruns of this game. As there's a trick called Super Hinox Throw, which spoilers is not super. It's you have like a depending on whatever setup you use, you have between a frame and a few frames to do some kind of trick where the Hinox will throw you out of bounds and give you a massive shortcut across the whole dungeon. But obviously, we're not going to do any of that. It's a really difficult trick. Okay, so this room is probably one of the worst rooms in the game. Wow. So I have to defeat these 3 enemies in a very specific order. It is Pulse Voice, the Keats, and then the Stalfos. And if you defeat them in the wrong order, then you have to go up that staircase and back down, and you lose quite a lot of time. But thankfully that was really good. None of the enemies gave me any trouble, with the exception of maybe the Stalfos. Oops. Okay, here we go. So right there, that's that is a power called the Piece of Power. The way that works is that whenever you kill 30 enemies plus however many heart containers you have, so for example, I have 4 heart containers, so 34 kills, then Piece of Power will drop. And what the Piece of Power will do is it will give me double damage, and it'll also increase my movement speed by just a little bit. And so the extra power and the extra speed does allow you to save time in a few places. But it only lasts for about between 30 and 40 seconds. So it's not as useful as it used to be way back in LADX. In LADX, the power up lasts until you get hit 3 times, but they have added a time limit. But the good thing about Piece of Power is that you can actually carry through different areas, unlike in LADX. There's also another power up called the Guardian Acorn, where you have to kill in LADX 12 enemies without getting hit. I don't know if that also applies with this version as well, but you do kill a certain number of enemies without getting hit in order for Guardian Acorn to appear. And that one only increases your defense. Okay, very nice. So that was the genie fight. It's not very exciting, as you can tell. That I'm not even talking about the fight at all. Something to explain that second phase, though, is that the you might be wondering how I know which genie is the right genie, and that's the one that's furthest away from the center. Okay, that's the conch horn. Okay. Back on topic with Piece of Power and Guardian Acorn, you want to normally you want to pretty much keep track of your runners will tend to keep track of their kill count to make sure that they are on track, so that Piece of Power can actually spawn at a point where they want it to spawn. Unfortunately, since I got a Piece of Power drop in Bottle Grotto, which is not where I want it to be at in my kill route. So unfortunately, later on, I will be losing about maybe 10-ish seconds or something like that. So yeah. So now we're gonna return Bow Wow. And Madame Meow Meow is very happy that we have taken care of Best Boy Bow Wow. That she gives us a nice kiss. Very sweet of her. Alright, so now we're gonna go shopping. So you see this shovel right here? It's 200 rupees. I don't have it, but I'm just gonna leave with it. Oh, but the shopkeeper's not happy. But wait, what's he doing? Oh no! I'm dead! Oh my goodness. That's not what was supposed to happen. Okay. Well, in the meantime, at least he let us keep the shovel. So, that's nice. Got it for free. I'm gonna buy some bombs here. And I'm just gonna leave with it. He has it costs 980 rupees for the bow. Obviously don't have that, but you know what? I'm gonna say no thanks. So, don't have to worry about shopping anymore. At least, hopefully we don't have to. I mean, hopefully the run doesn't go that bad. I only made one major mistake, which isn't that bad. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little detour over here real quick. There's a warp pearl right there. We will need to take advantage of that later. So maybe so let's get that over with now. And this is the part of the game where you're gonna find out that the trade sequence that we did at the start of the run is required. So we got it out of the way. And I did have a run once where I did forget bananas, and it's a very embarrassing way to lose the run, unfortunately, as you do have to go very far back in order to get, if you realize it here. So I activated a warp pearl right by Dampé's hut earlier, and then I activated a warp over at the Seashell Mansion. So in the original version, there were only 4 warping points. In this version, one of the qualities of life that they did was added many more warping points. There's a lot more warping points, and you can actually, on top of that, you can actually warp wherever you choose whenever you go to a warp point. So it makes the transportation around the overworld really, really good. So be sure to take advantage of that throughout the run here. Another quality of life that this version has is normally one of the notorious things about the original LEDX runs is that when you're equipping items, you only have 2 buttons, A and B. In this version, you still have 2 buttons to work with, Y and X. But what they did with the equipment item is that they made some items from LADX permanently equipable, which means like your sword, your shield. There's 2 other items later on that's always going to be equipable, and hold on, come on. All right, thank you. They will always be equipable. It eliminates a lot of extraneous menuing from the original version, and so with this, you can route in really nice combinations of items that you couldn't otherwise do in the original version. So this is the part where I would like to have Piece of Power for this guy right here, because as you can see, he takes a lot of hits, and he's just easier to deal with Piece of Power. But since I don't, I just have to do a little bit more effort in order to beat him. That's okay. So here I am in Canela Castle. In most categories, you don't ever go to Canela Castle for any reason, because you really don't get very much benefits for going to Canela Castle. Aside from doing this really tedious side quest to grab these leaves here. You need 5 golden leaves, and I skipped this earlier, but you're supposed to go to a villa, there's a guy named Richard, and he'll say that these 5 golden leaves are so important to him, and he cannot return to his castle, so he wants us to go in his stead to retrieve those golden leaves. So we did that, and now we're about to go to Richard's villa to give him his prized treasure golden leaves. Kind of silly, but that's just what we have to do in order to get our reward here. Otherwise, there is a trick called Villa Skip, where it involves a death abuse in order to get behind his garden, his backyard, known as the Pablo Field. But obviously, that type of trick is not allowed in this category, so we do have to go through this entire sequence in order to get to his backyard. So I did have to talk to him twice there. One was to accept his side quests, and then two, to confirm that hey, I got the golden leaves. So grab the slime key right here. And there's so much grass here, so I'm actually going to be jumping a lot. As this is faster than just walking through all this grass. Now, normally in the Game Boy versions, you can actually go all the way around. Or, no, you can actually just go to the front of the dungeon and open the door from the other side. And that's just abusing a mechanic called wall clipping, but since you can't wall clip, it's useless. We just have to go all the way around like this. It's kind of unfortunate, but this is what we have to deal with. But, okay, so we're approaching the third dungeon, Key Cavern, here. And, Key Cavern is one of the more longer dungeons to go through. We'll see what happens from here. Ah, come on. Okay, that guy was a bit of a pain. But, oh well. Not much we could do about that. Okay, so grab our first key there. Get rid of all those guys with the reveal a chest. That's actually a fake chest, so we're not gonna open it. It's not important. So Key Cavern has normally, as the name implies, you're gonna be grabbing a lot of keys, right? But if you know the fastest way through this dungeon, then you can pretty much get all those keys and just only grab the keys that you need. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So I'm going to blow up this wall right here. It's just for later. I do have to wait for the bomb to explode. And then now we have this mini-boss. This is called the Dongo Snakes. The Dongo Snakes is the pain in the butt. So, the way this works is they will be moving around 4 times, and you can't just like place bombs in front of them. You have to wait until they move 4 times in order to be able to place a bomb in their mouth again. And this is not looking good right now. Please, there we go. Alright. Yeah, you can actually cheese this in the Game Boy version, but they got smart with that. They got even smarter with that fight because there is a glitch in the original version where if you defeat one of the Dodongo Snakes, and then leave the fight, then it'll count as you winning the fight. But they got smart with that, and now that glitch does not work anymore. Thanks, Grezzo. Okay, so we got the item of the dungeon, the Pegasus Boots. The Pegasus Boots makes a return from A Link to the Past, and it allows you to go fast. The speedrunner dream here. There's a piece of power right there. I'm not going to pick it up because that is not a good spot for me for a piece of power. Ah. Okay. So, auto load back to the beginning of the dungeon, and we're gonna take a side detour. You don't need to do this, but you're going to get stuck later if you don't. So the dash mechanics have changed quite a lot from the Game Boy versions. You can, like in the Game Boy version, you can move while you're charging up your dash. However, in this game, this time around, there is a setup period. There is a setup animation that is slower than Link's walking speed. And then you can also scrape this time around. There's also an animation for when Link stops dashing as well. So you have to optimize your dashes in this game. It's a lot harder than in the original. As, you do have to consider the time that it takes for Link to set up his dash, as well as the time that it takes for Link to stop his dash. Okay, this is annoying. And dash movement is what's going to allow top players to separate themselves from players who just know how to go through the game. Okay, that was not good. Oh my goodness. Please. Thank you. Okay, so now we're off to the fight here against Slimy. So what we have to do here is Gigazoll in German. Oh. So you have to hit him in the eye, and then dash into the middle here in order to split them open. And then dash attacks do more damage than your sword slashes. So I am dashing into the eyeballs in order to do more damage. So there we go. That's the Slime fight right there. And once again, I'm gonna grab this heart container. Normally, you don't really get these heart containers, but we are trying to set ourselves up to play the last few parts of the game as safe as we can. As those last bits have really easy potentials to take damage. Okay, so that's the part of the run where it kind of speeds up here. It gets a little bit more faster paced. You just gotta go ahead and dash through. Oh, I already did that. Normally, normally in my PB attempts, I actually activate that warp point now, right by Seashell Mansion. But doing it before Candle Castle is actually a recent route change. Got a little bit thrown off there. Okay, so welcome to Animal Village, and we're gonna go ahead and talk to the walrus here. Something you're gonna notice is normally you're supposed to go around, and Terran will be hanging around a tree, and you can give him the stick that we got from the monkey, and he'll run away from some bees, and you can actually take the beehive, and you get a honeycomb, which you can use to give to Chef Bear in Animal Village. For pineapple, and that will normally trigger Marin at the beach, which we are on our way to right now. However, in this version, they actually added another way to spawn Marin at the beach, and that is to talk to Walrus. So you're actually noticing I'm skipping a bit of the side quest, a bit of the trade quest, and you might be wondering, like, how am I going to go through the rest of the game if if I'm already skipping 2 steps of the trade quest? You know, it's a glitchless run. Like, how am I gonna do this? Well, my friend, you're gonna see why. So go inside the Dream Shrine here, and we're gonna get the Ocarina. Unfortunately, it is impossible to skip the Ocarina, and in this game, even if it was possible, it would not be worth it to skip it, and you'll see why. Aww. Alright, now to the best part of the game here. We're about to go on a date with Marin. Alright, so, to pull the usual tradition here, did you guys know that the seagull flying around this cutscene is completely random every time? So, if you are moderating the Link's Awakening switchboards, and you're seeing the same pattern from the same runner every time, then you know this guy's cheating. So Marin just tells Link that she wishes to be a seagull. Unfortunately, spoilers, that wish doesn't come true because we did just die in the run. So that's just... I'm sorry. Her wishes don't come true. Okay, so there's a warp point conveniently right here, just nearby. We're gonna take this. And we are gonna be using this warp point later on too. So we're just gonna use this to warp back to Animal Village. That's the quickest way to get back from here. So, Marin runs really fast, as you can see. Now we're gonna sing a song to Walrus. So there's a way to skip having to do this in the original version, and it was soft lock potential. But since there are no screen transitions, or at least not the kind of screen transitions you might remember from the original. You can't do what's called a bomb trigger. And a bomb trigger is when you place 2 bombs before a screen transition. And the game does some really weird things with cutscenes. And the Walrus being one of them. And obviously we can't bomb trigger in this game. So this is the Land Mollusk fight. And the Land Mollusk fight is really it's like the same. It's similar to how you beat him in The Link to the Past. He's weak to the head, and you have to we use arrows to shoot him in the head because it does more damage than the Sword Slash. Normally there is a way where you can actually beat him before he actually spawns in the original, but since just due to so many differences in this game, that's not possible. We usually like to joke and say like, oh, what is in this room? Nothing. But you actually get to see what's in that room this time. Also, grabbing the key, the Angler key from Land Mollusk, it's important that you grab the key before you fall down the quicksand, as you can fall down the quicksand, and you lose quite a bit of time if you fall down the quicksand while you're grabbing the key. And it is sometimes easy to do. So we're gonna go ahead and listen to this song real quick. Alright, that was a nice tune. And we get the first out of 3 Ocarina songs in this game. This is the first introduction that the Ocarina exists in any Zelda game. Not A Link to the Past by popular belief, and A Link to the Past is called the Flute. So it doesn't count. Now, something to note is that in the original, or is that in the glitch 80% categories, there is a way to skip the angler key entirely. But, no. It involves a pretty difficult trick. Oh. So it is important that you do open up, you do go out of your way to open up the next dungeon. It's very common for people, like, because you have to go pretty far, somewhat out of your way to open up the dungeon. It is really easy for a lot of people to accidentally forget to open up the dungeon. And unfortunately, I am one of those people. And when you realize that you forget to open up the dungeon, right as you're about to enter the dungeon, then it is a very, very sad day. Alright, so we do have to make our climb here. There's Papal up there. He wants pineapple, and he'll trade it in for a hibiscus, but we don't have the pineapple. But here we are, into Dungeon 4, Angler Tunnel. Now, Angler Tunnel used to be quite a bit of a slog. But about a year and a half ago, we found a new trick called the bomb jump. And it allows you to skip 2 very tedious keys to get. And it is a pretty difficult trick. Hopefully I can actually pull it off. It's not exactly an easy trick, but very recently we did found more consistent setups for the bomb jump, and it actually makes that trick not as difficult as it used to be. But it can still be kind of daunting. So we'll see what happens from here. And if I get this, then this could save me a minute. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I am gonna save real quick. So like I said, it can be difficult. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. Okay, so I'm a little bit low on hearts. We're gonna try and get some hearts here. Okay, there we go. That's good enough. So that did skip having to get a key that's near the entrance, and then there's a U-shaped key that you have to go pretty far out of your way for. Now now coming up next is the boss of, or the mini-boss here, Cue Ball, and out of all the bosses that they made worse in this game, this is by far the worst boss in the game. His hitbox makes no sense. Sometimes you'll hit him, and it's unfortunate. Now, back to the bomb jump. It does seem kind of weird that we're performing a very big sequence break there, and you know this trick gets it's pretty controversial, as you get people be like, "What is this guy doing? He said glitchless." But by definition of glitchless in this game, the way we define one of the things that we define glitchless is out of bounds, and one of the out of bounds definitions for that we as a community have agreed upon is that if Link is on any object that you cannot be on top of by any means of normal gameplay, then it is considered out of bounds. What you saw there was the bomb being out of bounds and not Link. So it is fair game, basically. And so with that trick, you save a minute in that dungeon. Probably a little bit less, since it took me 3 tries to get it. But that's okay. Like I said, the setup that I did use is way more consistent than the setup that we used to use back in previous runs when the trick was first being discovered. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be going for that trick. But so you're gonna notice that I actually left the dungeon. And the reason being is that if I complete the dungeon now, then there is a side quest, the ghost quest, and when you beat Angler Tunnel, then the ghost will appear, and he wants you to, go to his house and then go to his grave, and this whole sequence takes like 3 minutes, and it's bad. Nobody wants to do that. And so by revisiting the dungeon in 2 visits, then you actually save the 3 minutes there. Okay, so here's Armos Knights. I can't beat him faster, but his iframes are weird. So sometimes, if I would hit him earlier, then there would be a chance where an arrow would not go through. Oh wait, actually, no, that's not what I do. Okay. In the original version, there was a way to not have to save Dungeon 4 for last, which is what we're about to do in this run. And that is to get the item of the 6th dungeon, as that will make the ghosts permanently go away. But they have fixed that flag in this version, and it makes sense that for them to do that, because they don't want you to completely screw you out of getting an item if you're trying to 100% the game, as your reward for bringing the ghost back to his grave is a bottle, and in 100% you want to have all the bottles. And so if you're not able to get the to do the ghost quest, then obviously you can't get the bottle. So instead, we're going to continue through the rest of the dungeons, while leaving Dungeon 4 incomplete for a while. So here we are in Catfish Maw. And Catfish Maw is probably one of the worst dungeons in the run, as there's a lot of going back and forth in this dungeon, It's a really long dungeon. A lot of enemies move randomly and are semi unpredictable, so it is really easy to like bleed time here and there. But since this is a marathon, we're just showing off the run. Hopefully we don't get ourselves screwed here. Okay, I'm gonna grab a few hearts here. Okay, Master of Stalfos. So, the mini-boss, one of the mini-bosses of this dungeon is Master Stalfos. And the way you fight Master Stalfos is you have to basically blow him up 3 times. In the original version, you fight him 4 times. The first and 4th time, you bomb him 3 times. Whereas the second and 3rd time, you bomb him 2 times. In this version, you have to blow him up 3 times, all 4 times. So you fight him the same exact way every single time. So his fight isn't exactly all that exciting. So something I am doing here is I am going away from the bomb explosions. As you can see, bomb explosions can't hit you in this game, unlike in the Game Boy versions. And they hurt for 2 hearts of damage. Oh wow. So I'm actually going to auto-load from here. If you're familiar with, let's say, an any percent run of the original version, then you would actually proceed downwards, and you would actually do what's known as dumb jump, where you can actually get the boss key early. In just a little bit, you'll see that dumb jump isn't really possible. It's basically a very precise dash jump across a very large pit in order to get the boss key earlier than you're supposed to. Okay, so by defeating Master Stalfos the 4th time, then you'll get the item dungeon, the hookshot. And Master Stalfos will always spawn in order of the rooms, and like you'll see on the blue, the blue tiles, there's like 1, 2, 3, and 4 blue tiles, and he'll always spawn in that order. The other thing about Master Stalfos is that in the original version, there is a way where you can actually overkill him, and then you'll get a key from him, like an extra key, and in the original versions we take advantage of that extra key to do a trick that we can't do in this version. Alright, so we got the hookshot now. The hookshot allows you to grapple onto things from large distances, which is how you're going to get through the rest of this dungeon. So as you can see right here, this that pit is now larger, so you cannot do a dash jump across that pit in order to get the Nightmare Key early. So you have to use the hookshot. So now we have the boss key, the Nightmare Key. We can go ahead and go straight to the boss now. Go and head down over here. Got some cheeps. Whoa. Hold on. Alright. Alright. Alright, come on. You'll understand what I'm trying to do. Okay, there we go. Okay, so once again, what is this guy doing? This is glitchless. So we call it skewing. It's just basically turning your angle while you're in midair. Basically, you do this in order to turn all the way around whenever you're changing directions in mid jump. That's basically all there is. Basically, if you haven't noticed in this game, you can only move in 8 directions. But when you change your angle in mid-air, then you can land in an angle that's outside of the 8 directions of your movement. And when I mentioned earlier that I use a GameCube controller to run this game, this is because of the 8-directional movement. That's the reason why I use a GameCube controller. Alright, this is looking to be pretty unfortunate luck right now. Okay, that's not bad. So this is the wall snake fight, or slime eel. And basically, you pick a side and you have a 50% chance at guessing which side he'll be at. And then when you do more hits on him, then the more random he gets, as you'll have what's known as a dummy form. You saw it earlier, and with the black eyes. And if he comes out in that form, then and you hookshot him out, and you hook him out, then he'll basically blow up on you, wasting even more time. But that didn't go too bad. So that is Catfish Maw taken care of. And now we're going to go to Dungeon 6. You might notice in between Dungeons 4 and 5 that I actually got the key to Dungeon 6, the face key. And because I already did that, we're going to go to Face Shrine right now. It doesn't really matter if you get the face key now and earlier. Most people get it now, or most people get it in between 4 and 5, because if you try to get the face key, if you try to go through the Armless Maze, well, if you try to go to the Armless Maze, then there will be a bunny in the way in Animal Village. If you warp to Animal Farm and make your way to the Animal Village, or the Armless Maze. So, you know, animals are losing us time. So here we are in the Face Shrine. And without any major sequence breaks, this is probably the longest dungeon in the game. There's not really a lot of ways that you could skip many parts in the dungeon. And even in the glitch run, this is still probably the longest dungeon. Okay. This dungeon introduces Wizrogues, and they can only be killed by explosions, bomb arrows, or bombs. And they're usually a pain to deal with. If you use bomb arrows, then they're usually pretty easy to deal with. Hookshot that switch right there. You can grab these arrows, because I have 0 arrows right now. Arrow management is, in case you haven't realized, it's actually really tight to manage your arrows. Bomb management isn't so bad because you actually get a lot of bombs in this dungeon. Alright, so grab this key, and we're actually approaching the towel room. There's not really a whole lot to say about the towel room for now. I know right now the chat's pretty quiet, but don't be afraid to say anything. I am definitely very open for some chat interactions here. Oh, nice. Okay. As you can see, it's you can actually beat Smasher to the ball before he does. It is extremely precise, and that's one of the very few times that I was actually very successful at doing that. It's a lot easier with Piece of Power because you move faster. But I got lucky this time. It's not good. Alright, I need to save an arrow, so I'm going to do this real quick. Alright. Yeah, so I wasted one extra arrow than I would like to. So I need to conserve my arrows. It'll lose me a few seconds, but it shouldn't be that bad. Grab this bomb refill because it's in the way. And we're approaching to another tile room. So again, not really much to say for now. But we are coming up to horse heads. So everyone, get your bets at how many tries it's going to take me to go through horse heads. It is a 25% chance to line up the horse heads first try. Alright, here we go. First to get the pots out of the way. Oh my goodness, I did it first try. Wow. Okay, so, if the horse heads are completely skill-based this time around, there is actual strategy within horse heads. Basically, the way it works is, as long as you line them up at those green tiles, then it is always 100% consistent. Whereas back then, it was you just throw the horse heads around and hope that both of them line up correctly. So you could lose like several seconds if it takes a lot of tries, but they have changed that this time around. So you gotta think of it as chess, which fun fact, I hate chess. I'm a checkers player instead. It's 3 forward and 1 to the side in order to line up the horse heads to land on the green tiles. And also, did you know that you can throw pots at a treasure chest? It's a puzzle in this dungeon. That owl statue that you see right in front of that treasure chest will tell you about that. And now that we have the boss key, it's time to take on the boss. We definitely have been here for a while. Get rid of that Wizrobe. And here we go. Close enough. Oh, man. Well, Slow won the bet. Okay, focus time here. And, the way I'm gonna do this fight is really tricky. Oh no! Okay. It's gonna. Alright, it's not looking good now. So you can probably get. So as you can probably see, you can probably guess what I was trying to do throughout this fight. So in this fight, all the tiles and all the pots are coming at you, and you can actually take advantage of their positioning by shooting bomb arrows at the projectiles. It's very precise because if you miss a shot, then you're automatically losing a lot of time in that fight. But Slow, you got it first, so you automatically win. Okay, so we're approaching to Signpost Maze. It's probably the most boring part of the run here. So in the Signpost Maze, you have to read a bunch of signs. It's very exciting. You have to read signs in a very particular order, and if you read the wrong sign, then you have to reset the entire maze. Not very fun. I rigged it? Donations. I mean, I can hear donations, if there's any donations.
Unfortunately, there's not, but you know, I have an idea of how to make people possibly donate a bit. Because my hosting shift is for this run and the next 2 runs. How about if we manage to get to, let's say, $2,300 by the end of my hosting shift, I'm gonna drop a $50 donation.
Sounds like a plan.
That sounds like a plan, right?
Yeah.
So, you heard it, people? We need $245 in the course of the next... Let me check. What does the schedule say? In the course of the next... That's an hour 10. We here have about 40 minutes. Let's say in the course of the next 2 hours. In the course of the next 2 hours, $245, and I'll drop another 50.
Let's get it, people. All right, so in case some of you guys haven't heard, that was the second best song in the game right there. It was totally worth the 300 rupees to listen to that very fantastic performance, and that is the Frog Song of Soul. And right away, it will already get its use right here. So with the level 2 bracelet that we just got from in Base Shrine, we are going to whoops! Oh no. Okay, thankfully with Mambo Song we can actually. Okay, nice. That would have been really bad if this was the Game Boy version, but we're going to go over here with the level 2 bracelet that we got from the Base Shrine, move that statue, and head over here to this underground area, and we're going to revive this dead rooster. He is now alive. We just saved an animal, guys. And the rooster is actually really powerful if you've ever watched a glitched run of this category, or of this game. The rooster is used to do a bunch of sequence breaking. But, sadly, the rooster's gonna have a very short time with us. We're gonna have to make our way back up to the mountain here. Alright, something I didn't mention the first time that we were through this mountain is, in the original version, there was a trick in this cave called Obstacle Skip. It's, basically, all it is just jumping around an obstacle without having to dash right through it. But due to the mechanics of this game, Obstacle Skip doesn't work, and it wouldn't really save time if it did. So, take that, all you LADX runners. Way back when I ran LADX, I was very known for not doing Obstacle Skip. And, yeah. Alright, so in this cave, this would normally be where we would do what's known as Rooster Skip. It involves doing hookshot jumping, which is double frame perfect. But since that doesn't work in this version, we do have to use the rooster in order to fly across this very large pit. And so this is the only use of the rooster that we will ever have within the run. Very unfortunate, because I really like the rooster. But thank you for giving me access to the key to the next dungeon. So now we are going to head all the way up to the next dungeon here. And one of the first glitches found in this game, at the start of the development of speedruns of this game, is there's an out-of-bounds clip that allows you to fly up to the dungeon without having to go through all these different caves. But obviously it's a glitch, so no thanks. So, anything else you want to talk about, Mr. Host, as we make our way to the next dungeon?
Well, I can always talk about the upcoming incentives. Well, I say upcoming. It is a bit of a way until the first incentive that really matters, because many of them are already met. So, if we want a real incentive as that, that would be for the very last run of the marathon, which is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, the final chapter showcase. We need $250 for that, and while it's not oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself because that's not even open yet. Ha! I completely missed that in the list. Okay. Well, we don't have any incentives open, but we do have quite a bit in case of bid wars. So we still have the character choice for Harry Potter and the Prison of Azkaban, where you can select if we play as Harry, Ron, or Hermione, none of which have any donations yet. You can also choose the character skin for Super Mario Bros. Crossover. Between the original Legend of Zelda, the BS Zelda no Densetsu, which is, from what I get, a remake of the original Legend of Zelda for the Satellaview. Whatever that is, never heard of it. And the third choice is the Oracle of Seasons skin. So, yeah. Donate for any of those. No character skin is set yet. So, that's your choice.
Okay, so here we are in Eagle Tower, Dungeon 7. And this dungeon is a very long dungeon. Okay, hold on. Alright. Yeah, it's a very long dungeon. And the gimmick behind this dungeon is you have to carry that metal ball all the way around the second floor in order to knock down some pillars. This is a 4-tower dungeon. Has a really unique concept because of that. And yeah, so as some of you guys might be familiar with the Game Boy version speedruns, we use a trick called bomb triggers, and bomb triggers completely obsolete the use of using the ball at all. But obviously, since we can't bomb trigger, we do have to go around this dungeon almost the intentional way. But even without glitches, this dungeon's still kind of broken in some way. There's a lot of optional rooms, so if you do know your fastest way around the dungeon, then you can just skip all those rooms that you don't need to go through. I'm gonna go around over here to, oh, actually, I don't need to do this. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So the purpose of this dungeon is we're trying to knock down the 3rd floor in order to get to the 4th floor. And by going all the way around, we can grab this item over here, the mirror shield. The mirror shield has 1 to 2 uses. 1 if we're lucky. But it is possible to get the mirror shield early. But wait, hold on. First off, we have the hardest boss in the game. I'm really nervous. Oh my goodness, I did it! First try. Holy crap. So if you just stand right there and just smash your sword, then you pretty much win that fight every time. But yeah, it's possible to get the mirror shield early, but it doesn't save much time to get it early with this route. You do get it early in the glitch runs because you do have to do a trick called Super Hinox Throw. I alluded to that earlier on in Bottle Grotto, but obviously we're not going to be doing that at all. I'm going to throw that ball across. Okay. This room is called 3 Oaks, or 3 of a kind. Because you have to match those penguins in order to defeat them all at the same time. And you do need to defeat them in order to spawn that chest, which we're going to use just to hookshot across. Otherwise, that chest contains rupees. Blow this wall up. Blow this other wall up. And hookshot across over here. And here we go. So that's all the pillars taken care of, just like that. And if this wasn't a backup run, normally I would actually open up an incentive called Save or Leave Marin. And what that implies is that whenever you complete this dungeon, then, well, first off, this right here is very questionable. You're supposed to fall down that pit, but if you just jump off the left side of the ledge there, and you hold down, then you won't fall down that hole, which saves quite a bit of time. Otherwise, you have to go all the way back around the mountain again if you do fall down there. Anyway, when you beat the dungeon, then Marin will appear on this bridge coming up, and she wants you to save her. And if I were to save Marin, then I would have to complete the dungeon. And since there's no incentive for that, we're just gonna have to just do the normal way of, well, quote-unquote normal way as far as the speedrun's concerned, and I'm actually gonna go back to Dungeon 7 later. As, revisiting, the cutscene does not play until after you complete the dungeon, and so by doing this, making your way to Dungeon 8 before completing Dungeon 7, then you just don't see that cutscene at all. Hopefully that's close enough to blow that wall up. Okay, it was. Very good. No offense taken, because everyone's inclined to their opinion. For reference, it is not the same. It is not killing Marin, because when you go back to the bridge later on, Marin will still be there. So it is not killing Marin. We're just leaving Marin. So this is the Turtle Rock. There is a way to just go right through the Turtle Rock and then just enter the dungeon. But they got really smart with that, and that you actually have to fight the Turtle Rock. And this is how you fight him. Oh, he actually has a lot more health than I remembered. Okay, there. Of course, it's the last hit. But there we go. That is the Turtle Rock defeated there. I'm actually gonna grab this fairy. Just be safe. Alright, so this is Turtle Rock. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is defeat that guy, as this is going to save me time later. So, like Eagle Tower, this dungeon is also somewhat complicated to go through in a casual playthrough. Again, if you know your way around the dungeon, then you can know which optional rooms you do not have to go through at all. So that's what we're doing here. Just gonna go through this as fast as we can. And bomb arrows are really powerful, too. Something I didn't talk about is one of the things that Link's Awakening introduces is the use of bomb arrows. If you equip a bomb and an arrow and use them at the same time, then you'll create a really cool effect of bomb arrows. And it is completely intentional. If you look at the back of the box cover of this game, then the game does teach you how to use bomb arrows. So it is completely intentional by the developers. Okay, shoot that eye statue right there. I'm actually gonna go down over here to grab these refills, as I am really low on arrows here. and then I'm gonna go down over here. Grab this extra key. But yeah, it's really interesting that they still kept it in, because originally it used to be like, it was like some kind of bug that the developers just kind of just left behind in the original version. But it does pay off, as they did get reintroduced in games like Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild. Also, this is really unfortunate. Alright. Okay. Come in as Blano. Hopefully I get this quick kill. Okay, never mind. Okay, not bad. The fight can go a lot worse than that. But if I didn't mess up there, then I would have actually had a very quick fight on Blano. As just like Moblin King, you do have to time your hits very specifically. The rhythm has to be very specific. It's not as strict as in Moblin King, where I, use the metronome app in order to increase my success rate at 1 cycle. But it's still pretty tricky. Okay, so this is another Hinox right here. Since we're really powerful, we can just dash right into him. Alright, I'm also gonna grab this. So grab this key. One of the downsides to auto-loading is if you're not careful enough with your auto-loads, then you could accidentally load the wrong file instead of the auto-load file. So shoutouts to Adamo, where there was one time where where he was on very good PV pace, and at this point of the run, he accidentally loaded a new save file while he was trying to auto-load from this point to get back to the beginning of the dungeon. And because he loaded a new save file, the game auto-saves right when you wake up from in bed. Okay. So it's just one of the saddest ways to lose the run. Alright, so for this room, there's like 26 different possibilities to go about with this room. And they're all the same. This is my way. It is. Okay, so now that we have the Nightmare Key, it is time to go to fight the boss. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Not sure what happened there. So we got the Magic Rod earlier, and of all items that they had to nerf, this item was one of them. It's really weak, and there's a huge delay between using dots. Very unfortunate. Which makes this upcoming boss harder than it should be, unfortunately. Okay, so like I said, of all the bosses that they had to make worse, this is Hothead. Okay, okay. Come on. Alright, one more. Okay, there we go. Okay, that was actually really good. Alright, never mind. I'm really happy with that. That fight can go a lot worse than that. So I was actually really happy that I got that really quickly. Alright, so hopefully I don't regret this, but I'm actually going to skip that heart container. As, from here on out, I don't really need any more. I don't really need that much health. I will be needing some health later on to take intentional damage, but hopefully I don't need that one extra heart container that I did skip over just now. Alright, so we're gonna make our way back to Eagle Tower, and we do have time for, like, if you do want to say something on stream.
Sure, thanks. So, I said that I would donate $50 if we meet $300 by the end of my shift. And if you've noticed in chat, Slower said he would match those $50. So if we reach 2,300, we basically reach 2,400, and that would be awesome. Also, $2,500 would be a no glitches allowed personal best for donations. So that's also a goal to go for. Which, you know, I like dogs. I love dogs. I grew up with many dogs, so I do want to see those dogs happy. So every dollar is a personal favor to me as well, basically. So yeah, again, thank you very much for that, and please make that 2,500 till the end of the marathon. But as I said, 2,300 by the end of my shift, that would be really awesome.
Okay, so this is the boss, Evil Eagle, and this fight is it's a huge mess. So you don't want to see that attack specifically, and because it just wastes time. You do want to see any other attack, except for when he flies at the top of the screen. So we got one, I guess, like, Gus attack, I guess, which is actually pretty good luck. So that's good. So, two fights that could potentially lose you quite a bit of time, both went pretty well. So I'm really happy with that. And once again, I'm going to skip that heart container. Hopefully I don't regret that. And, yeah. Alright, so that is 7 out of 8 dungeons completed. And we're finally going to go back to Dungeon 4 and complete the rest of the dungeon. One of the things that you're going to notice is, well, I'm going to be going through the rest of the dungeon, of course, and I did set up RNG manipulation earlier in order to manipulate the run. And so one of the rooms in Dungeon 4, Angler Tunnel, is the puzzle room. And in the puzzle room, it is normally completely random. There's like 5 tiles, and the order that you step on the 5 tiles is completely random. But thanks to RNG manipulation, I know exactly what the order of the tiles I will be stepping on. It is up left, it is up right, down left, and middle. In that order. And even without RNG manipulation, you can still just guess the puzzle, because there's only 4 different solutions. So you have a 25% chance of getting a puzzle correct if you're just doing this without manipulation. So that allows us to skip quite a good portion of the dungeon. by just knowing the puzzle. There is a room that will tell you what the puzzle is. But, it's a little bit out of the way to figure that out. Alright, so here's another sequence break over here. Okay, there we go. So they did try to be smart and block and you can actually just normally you could like diagonal jump up to that room without having to go to another room to get over there. And so they try to be smart with that by using pods to prevent you from doing that. But if you have bomb arrows, then nice try, game. So here it's a anglerfish, or in German, piranha killer. It's you have to do a lot of spin slashes on him. Normally in the original Game Boy version, you can actually just stand in a very specific spot and then just mash sword, but they got really smart with that, obviously. Alright, so I don't need this heart container, but I'm gonna grab it anyway so I can have full HP for the boss. Just trying to be a little bit safe here, as I could die. And obviously, dying is bad. Alright, so now that I have completed Angler Tunnel, then the ghost will have a chance to spawn. And he will spawn if I am at the lower half of the entire map of Koholint Island. So as long as I don't move halfway down, then he will not spawn ever. So it is worth splitting this dungeon in 2 visits. And I believe this applies for like basically every category. Okay. So we're gonna warp over here because this is the closest point to where we need to go. I'm sorry, it's a speedrun. I'm trying to go fast. Can you blame me? Alright, so tradition to all Link's Awakening speedruns. We're gonna be quiet here. Okay, so there's quite a bit to explain here. In LADX, there's a lot to explain, but in this version, it's more straightforward because you don't do many of the tricks that you do in LADX. So first things first, you're gonna notice I never got the magnifying lens at all. So I'm gonna meme real quick, and I'm gonna YOLO away here. The way I know this is through RNG manipulation. It's right, up, left, up. I hope I went up. I hope I went right enough times. And if I didn't, then I'm gonna look embarrassing. It's gonna look embarrassing on me. And I didn't. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're good. Yeah. So I never, also because I never read the magnifying lens, or I never got the magnifying lens to read the book. In the library, the egg is dark. And now here we are in the fight. The windfish fight. Or, nightmare fight, not windfish. Sorry. But here we go. First, there's a bunch of different phases here for this fight. We got the blob phase. Sprinkle magic powder on the blob phase. There we go. And now we have Aghanim. So everyone, get your guesses in. How many blue balls am I gonna get? The first hit, four hits to beat him. First hit's always guaranteed. The rest is 50-50. I'm gonna stand a bit far away here, so that way I don't get hit by the blue ball, even though I just did right there. So that was 1 so far. Okay, we need 1 more. Okay, 1 blue ball is good. Okay, and then next up is Moldorm. A bunch of spin slashes. And then next up is Ganon. Just dash right into him just like that. And now we have the Landmola's form. Just spin slash it a bunch of times, just like this. And then now we have the final form, which is Deathel. It takes 10 arrows to beat Deathel. You can only shoot 2 arrows per cycle. Counts the cycle is how long he opens his eye for. And when he opens his eye is completely random. You can get a 3rd arrow in if you're really good, but it's really hard. That not very many people do it. Okay, so time is, I'm gonna climb up some stairs, and the screen's gonna go black, and that's when time ends. Alright. Okay, my timer says 1:48:59, which is a minute off my PB. My PB coming into this is 1:47:50, I believe. So for not doing any preparation for this run and being called to do this run, like literally at the last moment, I'd say I am actually pretty happy with how this run turned out. It started out rough in the beginning. But once I got past some of the difficult parts, I was able to get the run going, and I'd say I had fun. Having fun is definitely really important when, especially when doing a run that's pretty long. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I was a bit rusty, despite the very little preparation, and yeah, so thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for the run. It was really a joy to watch. I really enjoyed those, well, not quite 2 hours, but yeah, it was really, really nice. I really love myself some Link's Awakening. Awesome run, awesome game. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, guys, next up, we do have a double pack of Bloodstain, Curse of the Moon, and